A man sits alone by lamplight, his hands trembling as he slits open the belly of a dead hare. Inside the carcass, wrapped in a strip of linen, is a letter. He reads it once, then he burns it. Then he smiles for the first time in 20 years. That man is Harpagus, and that letter is the beginning of the end for the most powerful empire in the ancient world. Welcome back. Last time, we watched a king try to murder a prophecy and fail. The baby survived. The shepherd raised him. And when Astyages finally discovered that his grandson Cyrus was alive, he did not kill the boy. He brought him to court, punished the man who disobeyed him, and sent Cyrus back to Persia to live as a minor prince under Median rule. Case closed. Prophecy defeated. Or so he thought. But Astyages made one catastrophic mistake. The man he punished for sparing the baby was Harpagus, one of his most trusted generals, and the punishment was not a demotion or a fine. Astyages invited Harpagus to a banquet, served him a lavish meal, and only after the plates were cleared did he reveal what Harpagus had just eaten. His own son, cooked and served at the king's table. Harpagus did not scream. He did not weep. He looked at the king, said the meal was satisfactory, and went home. He buried what remained of his child, and then he waited. For 20 years, Harpagus served Astyages faithfully, commanded his armies, attended his councils, and said nothing. He was waiting for the right moment. He was waiting for Cyrus. By 559 BC, Cyrus had become king of Anshan, a small Persian kingdom that paid tribute to Media. He was a vassal, technically a subordinate, a man who owed his throne to Median permission. But Cyrus had spent his entire life watching how power worked, and he had noticed something important. The Median Empire was held together, not by loyalty but by fear. And fear, unlike loyalty, has a breaking point. The letter hidden inside the hair was Harpagus reaching out across 20 years of silence. The message was simple. The Median army is yours. If you move, I will make sure of it. But Cyrus did not move immediately. He was not reckless. He was methodical. Before he raised a single sword, he needed to know that his own people would follow him. The Persians were tough, proud, and deeply tired of paying tribute to a foreign, but tired and willing to die are two different things. Cyrus needed to show them the difference between what they had and what they could have, so he called a gathering of the Persian clans. Every noble, every elder, every man who mattered, he gave them a task: clear this field of thorns, all of it. By sundown, the men worked all day under the sun, tearing at brambles with their bare hands, bleeding and exhausted. When the sun went down, Cyrus told them to come back tomorrow. The next morning, he fed them, well, not soldiers' rations, a real feast. Meat and wine and bread spread out on tables in the open air. When the men had eaten and were sitting back in the warmth of the afternoon, Cyrus stood up and asked them a question. Which day did you prefer? The answer was obvious. Every man in that field knew what he was really being asked. Cyrus laid it out plainly. The first day is what your life looks like under Median rule. The second day is what it looks like if you follow me. The choice is yours. They followed him. In 553 BC, Cyrus formally declared rebellion against Astyages. The Median king did exactly what you would expect. He raised his army and marched south to crush this upstart vassal before the idea of rebellion could spread. He gave command of the vanguard to Harpagus. Yes, this was the last mistake. Astyages ever made as a free man. The moment the Median vanguard made contact with Cyrus's forces, Harpagus rode forward, not to fight, to defect. He crossed the line with a significant portion of the Median army behind him. 20 years of patience finally cashing out in a single afternoon. The Median soldiers who remained loyal were outnumbered and outmaneuvered. They broke. Astyages, back in the rear, heard the news and reportedly flew into a rage. He executed the advisors who had told him the prophecy was nothing to worry about. He raised a second army from the men still in the capital and marched out himself. It did not help. Cyrus met him in the field, defeated him, and captured him alive. Here is where the story takes a turn that no one expected. Cyrus did not execute Astyages. He did not humiliate him publicly or parade him through the streets. He kept him at court, treated him with a degree of respect, and let him live out his days in relative comfort. This was not weakness. This was a message. Nidushin. Cyrus was telling every king in the region that surrender to him was survivable, that he was not a conqueror who left rubble behind. He was something new. By 550 BC, the Median Empire was gone. Cyrus had absorbed it entirely, inheriting its territory, its administrative systems, and, crucially, its army. He was no longer a minor king of a tributary state. He was the ruler of a domain stretching from the Persian plateau to the edges of Anatolia. He was, by any measure, one of the most powerful men alive, and the kings of the neighboring empires were paying very close attention. In the west, in the fabulously wealthy kingdom of Lydia, a king named Croesus was watching all of this with growing alarm. Croesus was so rich that his name became a byword for wealth that still survives today. He controlled the gold-bearing rivers of western Anatolia. He had the most powerful cavalry in the known world, and he had just watched a man he considered a minor vassal swallow an entire empire in 3 years. Croesus did what nervous kings do. He consulted the oracle at Delphi. He sent messengers with lavish gifts and asked the most important question of his reign. If I go to war with Cyrus, what will happen? The oracle gave him an answer that has become one of the most famous prophecies in history. If you cross the Halys River, a great empire will fall. Croesus heard what he wanted to hear. He began preparing for war. He did not stop to ask which empire the oracle meant. Next time, camels versus horses, and the king, who thought he had already won,